Welcome everybody to a special edition of the Melanin Marvels podcast and the Everything 90s podcast. So, on the Melanin Marvels end, we are your hosts. My name is Adrian.
I'm Anika.
And I'm Divi.
And
I'm Shaleena from Everything 90s podcast. And this is our collab crossover episode.
yeah, so to all the Everything 90s podcast listeners, we are pleased to meet you. A bit about the Melanin Marvels. We are a podcast that talks about celebrating and engaging in the BIPOC heroes that are in your comics, in the TV shows that you watch, in movies, and also celebrating the community heroes that are of color that exist within Toronto.
Awesome. And then for the Melanin Marvels listeners, my podcast is all about reminiscing on the 90s. So anything from TV shows, movies, toys, music, all that. So you could find me on at Everything 90s podcast on Instagram, the numerical 90 and S. And then my podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. It just got on Apple Podcast, the bougie podcast platform. I was like, yay, I made it.
And Anika, if you could tell the folks where to follow us from Melanin Marvels.
So you can follow us at the Melanin Marvels on Instagram, as well as on YouTube and Spotify and Google Podcasts. And I'm pretty sure there's other ones, but the link is in our bio.
Perfect. So we thought in collaborating, what better way to connect than to reminisce on the 90s phenomenon known as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Both 90s staple and that whole cast are Melanin Marvels. So figured we had to collaborate to chat about this.
Yes. And Anika's like all ready with her outfit, Fresh Prince inspired outfit. Do you want to take a moment and, model it for us?
Perfect. Yes.
With the necklace.
So many pins. Yes.
Pins, the hat.
The hat. I love the hat.
It's actually a Superman hat.
Oh. And you have to show the jersey that didn't make it.
D-Pool's back there rocking the hat. Jersey.
Nice.
For everyone, this is just a small portion of Anika's 90s swag. She has so much more.
Those shoes back there, I told Divi earlier, are what I think Will would wear on the show.
Oh.
The layers, Anika. All right, so to get started, I figured it would be best to start to go down memory lane and talk about some of our favorite episodes of The Fresh Prince. I think that it's been amazing that The Fresh Prince had the opportunity to be on Netflix for a bit, and then having this huge resurgence of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air being introduced into the modern generation. So I'll tell everyone, what are your favorite episodes and favorite moments?
I liked the episode where Ashley went to a party and Will caught her in the closet with a college boy. And it just showed that he saw her as a little sister, and he cared for her enough to be like, Ashley, what are you doing? You can't, this guy can't be trusted. But she felt like she was mature enough to hold her own.
I don't remember that episode, but I do remember in the reunion. So the cast had a reunion before the reunion that was televised, which was virtual. And Will was saying to Ashley, I'll always see you as 11-year-old Ashley, his little sister.
One of my favorite moments actually is it's in the similar vein as Anika's. I think Will and Ashley's relationship, I think it was the first episode that set it up so well. And I think Will took Ashley, it was the first or second episode, Will took Ashley to a pawn shop and traded in whatever instrument she was playing and like got her a set of drums. And like that whole scene where like I
Where
think
he's, like,
Jazz comes in,
with
starts
Jazz.
playing, Will starts dancing, like that like episode, everybody was so perfect. And I think it set up everything to be perfect. And even like Will and Ashley's relationship like grew from there so much. It was nice to see.
Yeah, like another Will Ashley moment I like, classic, because I always quote it on a daily basis, is when he's like, okay, Ash, you gotta be like, mind your business. Just mind your business.
Yes.
That one was hilarious.
Their whole thing, even like what I don't, again, this was one of the earlier episodes, but like when she did that prayer when they had like guests over.
Yeah.
Like I just love, like I feel like like obviously Will influenced her so much. She was the youngest. It was just so funny. It was so good. Yeah.
And they referenced that in the reunion because she said that like the producers or the writers or whatever came to her and were like, okay, like you gotta rap, but she's a singer, so she just like okay, but like it was just so cute, like her as an 11-year-old like rapping this great like Grace.
Mhm.
And then like Will's just like
the whole scene was perfect too, because oh god.
I think the cool part about that moment too, I think the subtle thing that happened there was like, after she finished the prayer, I remember the last thing she was like, thank you God for this stupid food.
Yeah.
And then she like looked over at Will, it's like for like approval. And then like that piece there connected with the episode that you brought up, Divi, with Will sort of seeing her as like that kid as well. Just the progression of that relationship, because that's how we saw Ashley too.
Yeah.
And so to see her doing that, or even like her first kiss happening like within like the first season as well. I think it's the first season. Like, oh, just being able to see Ashley grow up within the entire series, it's amazing.
yeah, especially like when you're that young, a short period of time, like you grow like immensely, you mature. Like so for us, 6 years, the difference between like 20 and 26, there might be some differences, but it's not that much. But for her being 11 to 17, it's like you were preteen, now you're almost an adult.
Yeah, great memories for that. For me, so I'm just going off of memory and like when I used to watch it in the 90s with my uncle, because sometimes when he would babysit me, that was the show that was on. And a few clips from YouTube, but I don't know if this is from memory or just like YouTube, but the episode when Will gets shot from protecting Carlton, when they, I think they were were they at like a ATM or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, oh my gosh, so emotional. And you really see like their relationship turn, and yeah, that one was, I would say, most memorable. And the one where Carlton doesn't get accepted into the fraternity
Oh yes.
for not being Black enough, I could relate to that so much. Just like people saying, oh, you're not Black enough. Yeah, that one really hit hard. Thank God for YouTube to like have these episodes recorded for us to see.
I feel like an episode that kind of goes hand in hand with the one that you mentioned first, like the Will and Carlton, was before, like seasons before that had happened, when they were still in high school. Somebody had given Will speed and he had it in his locker. And then Carlton went into the locker thinking that it was vitamin E, so he took a bunch. So then he was like hopped up and high, and I think he ended up in the hospital. And then Will was like inconsolable, like he was like freaking out and stuff. So it's kind of like they switched roles in that aspect.
Yeah.
For me, I think these are like three episodes I had like listed as well. I think going for the one that you mentioned about Will getting shot, I think the most powerful piece with that episode to me was at the end where they're in the hospital and you see Will talking with Carlton. I think one of the most beautiful things that the show does is being able to find this great mix of tackling serious conversations, but understanding how serious they are and trying to like tastefully dabble with a bit of humor to lighten it a bit. Like that hospital scene I remember so clearly, where you had Will in the hospital, and then also after he hugs Carlton, and him hugging Carlton at that's another thing I could just like dive into. But them hugging, and then him feeling the gun, them having the conversation about it, and then Carlton just like expressing his anger and like flipping over the table. It's such a serious moment. And then you just see Will like, I was going to eat that. I think it was like that moment, like I appreciate how they just like kind of cut the tension, but also not neglecting how serious it was.
Like diminish it, yeah.
Yeah, but then the moment of Will telling Carlton just to give him the gun, and that the space there, the silence that was there, you could see the tension that Carlton has, and like the seriousness of Will. And then as he placed the gun down and he walks away, and seeing Will struggle to like get up off like the hospital bed to pick up the gun, look at it, and then cry. That whole scene was just beautiful, and I think it was like a great testament to how they're just like not afraid to talk about these things that happen. And also even Carlton as a character, to see him have to like processing what's happened and being able to have that room to express himself in that way was phenomenal. So that's like definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Or like they took serious moments and just made it totally comedic. For example, Hillary's fiance bungee jumping to his death.
Oh God.
They said that was like the most laughter they got from the live audience like ever, where they had to like dial it down.
Oh my God.
That's so traumatic. Oh my God.
Honestly, like
I don't know how that was
traumatic, but you laughed at it. And then
oh my God.
Hillary coming in like her wedding dress, but the wedding dress is all black.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my
Like
God.
Hillary as a character itself, she is just like comedy. Just like you just want to be like, what are you like? What are those? What are you wearing?
Mika.
She's an airhead.
You know what, sir, just going back to like what Adrian and Shaleena said too, like even with the with both moments and the whole like the fraternity episode, Shaleena, that you mentioned, like I think even now like that really resonates with people, because I mean, like as you said, like some people will still say you're not Black enough, and I think that's still something a lot of Black people are still experiencing, both I would say probably within like Black communities and from outside of it as well. And like you really see like they took these serious things and they had their serious moments and they held space for that, but they also, like Adrian said, like they did it in a way that they were able to add a little bit of comedy in it. And I kind of think that's like real life. Like of course I feel like we've all been through tense and difficult moments, but sometimes I don't know, like at least me, like I feel like I use like a little laugh here and there to like make it not as like harsh to feel. And I feel like, I don't know, I think they portrayed all of those things like really well. I think I'm sure at that time it wasn't easy to find a team that would create that and like to hold space for all of that and build upon it, because it's not as if, you know, inclusivity and talking about all these things were the norm, you know. And I think Fresh Prince made it the norm.
One other part about that episode that I really appreciate, I think Owen and Divi, I completely agree when it comes to like or Angelina, when it comes to like that unique the writer's room is just like incredible, but also being able to feed into the experiences of the actors as well. One part, like the last part of that episode that resonated with me was something that Uncle Phil said. So after he found out that Will and Carlton didn't get into Phi Beta Gamma, so I'm gonna drop a quote here.
This really irritates me. I have worked very hard to give my family a good life, and suddenly somebody tells me there's a penalty for success? I'm sorry you had to go through this, son. When are we going to stop doing this to each other?
And I thought that just hit heavy, because let's be honest here. I think when it kind of came to Carlton, I think all of us would sort of like waver with. No, I mean, let me speak from I identify with Carlton's experience, but also like Carlton, Tom Jones, really, there's a part of me that was like that. And I think that also threw us all like in the radar of like really questioning who are we to tell someone that they're not black enough.
Yeah.
And even comes to the viewers as well, being able to like take a moment of themselves as well for that. And when we exercise that in our own perceptions. So yeah, the way how the show like tackles some of these things too, and just while I think it's cool just to look back and see the conversations that were happening then and how they relate now and how they just carry over so well and how these same issues are still happening, but it's awesome to know that there are more shows and stuff that have the space to express what the Fresh Prince is doing, but also how NBC gave space to it as well. And maybe I just find that incredible too, necessary, but incredible to look back at.
Definitely. Another episode that was major that we forgot to mention. The episode where Will and Carlton got caught driving while black.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And Will's like teaching him like, hey, put your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. And he's just
your
like,
license
no. And,
out.
The officer comes and he's like, hello, officer. Like,
yeah.
And then when they get locked up basically, and then Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv have to come, and like the cops aren't treating them very well. And then
Uncle Phil's like,
Phil was just like, I will have this place locked up in litigation that your grandkids will have to be dealing with it. And then Aunt Viv is like taking off her earrings to jump over and fight them.
Yes.
You know, like however many $1,000 outfit, she's ready.
She's still ready to do what it takes to protect her cubs.
Yo, the episode with Will's dad. How have we not talked about this yet? Because I was watching, I watched that piece for a bit, you know, the end part of that. And I don't think it ever, like, it hit me. It hit me just being someone who like hasn't grown up with my dad like a lot. And it's like it's like at the end when Will says like, yo, why does he love me? And then like seeing that hug. Oh man, seeing that hug happen with him and Uncle Phil, it was powerful. And it's one that I love this like revisiting every now and again because it's such a powerful scene, especially seeing how far Will's come as an actor to do a scene like that. Yeah. Phenomenal.
And he improvised like once the father left, like the monologue was improvised on the spot apparently, and they decided to keep it.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
like these moments, because you know our like Melanin Marvel's podcast is all about like heroes and superheroes. Like I think moments like these is what makes them heroes because of how much it impacted all of us, like how much it meant to like Adrian, you know, who was going through like, you know, similar type of situation. Like that's what makes them these like big heroes, because I feel like they taught us so much and like touched us in so many like important ways.
Yeah, and it's definitely like they're heroes because they essentially, I wouldn't say they didn't come from nothing, but as Jazz had said in the reunion, like when Will came to him and said like, oh, I got a show or whatever, he just assumed that it was somebody from the block like with a video camera, not that it was going to be something so big. And like the show would like it surpassed what they would have ever thought. And in actuality, like after it went off air, it's gotten a lot more attention, and it's something that like people who grew up in the 90s watched, and then they passed it on to their kids. Because like honestly, yeah, I used to watch it in the 90s, but it would have been more reruns is what made me love it, because it came on before I was born. When it ended, it started in 1990 to 96. 96, I was 3 turning 4. What was I really watching? Or how was I understanding what was on the
Yeah, I can relate to that, because when I watched it as like 4-year-old, and then I do remember watching reruns as I got like in my middle school days. But now like in recent times going on YouTube and just watching the clips, I'm like, wow, this is
Mhm.
this is a really deep show. Even though it's, you know, comedic, it still has a lot of substance.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. One of my other favorite episodes is the episode where Aunt Viv is like teaching Will and Carlton's class. Do you guys remember that episode?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Like she gives them a 15-page paper to write at the end, which like I don't think is, you know, you don't do that. But the lesson itself, like she was so powerful in it, not just like in that scene, but like I just feel like because she is like a professor of like Black history and like at the college level as well, I feel like everything she did showed you that and taught you some of that Black history, not just in that one scene, because that one scene, even when she like starts singing and getting like students to like sing along like in the lesson, like to me, like that's what an amazing teacher is, and that's what somebody that's like trying to show the culture and like show the history and all the different aspects of it, like that, I don't know, that was just amazing to me, and all everything that came with her, that was amazing.
And even to get that position, she was diminished. You remember she was in the PTA or whatever, and she's like, oh, you guys need a college professor who has PhD, this next and the third, and they're like, well, where will we find that? And she's like, you're looking at it. And like she tried her best to teach her kids stuff, even though I think she could have tried a little bit harder on Hillary. But I digress.
There's a Hillary is just Hillary.
In the reunion, they said that she had said that they were going to try and make her like a strong, independent Black woman, but like that would not work. Like you can't just have a total flip like this.
I remember her saying that in the reunion as well. Yeah, but then she's like protested, like no, like Hillary's character should stay, like just to be
like
different.
Hillary progressed to become like a better person, but you can't just go from like total airhead to completely like you can't. It takes little steps, and she definitely took those steps.
That made sense. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Hillary.
An episode that I will always love is when Jeffrey had his like alter ego of Raphael de la Ghetto. With his afro.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Cannons to the left of them. Cannons to the right of them. Oh, yes.
Oh my God, yes. Oh.
It's more like Jeffrey was the backbone of that family.
Okay, his little like remarks here and there, like they were so good.
Especially the ones towards Uncle Phil.
Your cheesecake, sir. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, would you get Carlton, please?
Certainly, sir.
Thank you.
Run, Jeffrey. Fetch, Jeffrey. Perhaps you'd like me to catch a frisbee in my teeth.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord.
And even with that, you can see, so in the very first episode, when he calls him Master Will, and he's like, nah, it's just Will. He's like, no, you basically are above me or whatever. But then by the last episode, he calls him Will. Like, he's like, Will doesn't call him Master because he's been relieved of his duties. And it's like, okay, like they're friends. It's not like Jazz and Will friends, but like they have an understanding of each other.
Well, like, like even that, like the show did that so well. Like it's not as if some relationships, we got to see all the relationships be fleshed out and develop, like really in depthly, and they did that beautifully.
And we had a lot of celebrities on the show.
Yes. Speaking of which, interesting fact, Tyra Banks, that was her acting debut.
Oh,
yeah.
As Jacqueline Ames.
Wow.
Yeah. And Jada Pinkett Smith, she auditioned for Lisa's role.
I heard that.
Obviously didn't get it. But like I don't think they would have ended up together if she had that role. I don't know.
Well, listen to this. She didn't get the role because she was too short, right? She's 5 foot. Nia Long is 5'3". What? How much difference is 3 inches?
Listen, to me, as a short person, those 3 inches better, okay?
Yeah,
All
but
right.
the fact that like she didn't get it because she was too short.
Oh wow, that's horrible. It should be based on like her skills, no?
I mean, because they
Also-
want chemistry and height, aesthetic, whatever. I feel like they take all these things into consideration.
Also, like, tell me if you realize this. I don't know if Adrian, if you've gotten to this point yet, or even if any of our viewers/listeners have, but tell me I'm wrong. Will Smith's character on The Fresh Prince is the almost exact same character as Jada Pinkett's on a different world. They're the same. They're just the male and female versions of each other.
Really?
They come from like the hood, and they come into like an institution of like, well, a different world's not whiteness, but like of more prestige, and like they're trying to like balance where they came from and like where they are.
Mm-hmm. What other celebrities were there?
Queen Latifah.
Oh, was she on it? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Was she with the straws up her nose?
What?
They go on a date.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Will's kind of like, he really likes her, but he's concerned about like how people see him with her because she's a bigger girl.
Oh, okay.
What else was on there?
I think like Queen Latifah actually made her break because of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh
Like
wow.
she did well on that show, and then that's how she was able to like get Living Single.
Oh.
I really do love Queen Latifah. Like I always have.
Was she a rapper first and then
Mm-hmm.
got into acting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Performer wise, also they had some like big like 90s like groups like Boys to Men was
Yes.
there, Belle Biv DeVoe there as
Really?
well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they had some pretty cool cameos at the time.
Oh,
Sure.
and Tevin Campbell. Remember Tevin Campbell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley's birthday, singing to her, and
Mm.
she faints.
In regards to the Boys to Men, they actually, because remember they came for Nikki's
Yeah.
baptism,
Yeah.
but Nick's middle names are actually the names of them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Like I remember hearing afterwards, because wasn't Trump on one of the episodes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like the new Aunt Viv, like I remember hearing afterwards that she was like, yeah, like I did not want to shake his hand. And I think in the episode she doesn't, because she was like, no, like I'm not, like this is not what I'm doing. So she knew.
I think I have like like a screen cap of the episode where Tatiana Ali, like Ashley, is like, you're ruining my life, and then and it's like, it's so true to now.
Look, folks, before we go too far, I've got something to tell you.
Excuse me, but I've got something to tell you first. Thank you for ruining my life!
Ashley!
What did you do?
Everybody's always blaming me for everything.
Anybody else have any other favorite moments before we?
Yes, when Will was failing music class and he had to go with the kiddies. And then
Oh, the sun.
sunflower.
And they do like their own version.
Their sunglasses.
Oh,
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
Yes.
You make me happy when skies are gray.
Okay.
Oh my God! Yes, perfect.
All right, y'all. I think we gotta address something that's important here when it comes to like controversy.
I knew you were gonna say this.
He's gonna
Alright,
say
yeah.
Aunt Viv.
I'm gonna say Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv was replaced like season 4. Yes, and I think there's one thing that like all the fans of like Fresh Prince have been like avid fans of the OG Aunt Viv. From her dancing thing that she had with the ballet, and then also when Vivi mentioned it came to her just like embracing, like being like the intellectual, being able to be like that teacher, being able to have those moments. I feel like there was something that was missing between the first half of the Fresh Prince, second half of the Fresh Prince. But one thing that's not really addressed was like, what happened between when it came to that change? So there's some context that was created within the reunion. I don't know if folks want to talk about this or talk about the Aunt Viv change, but We had to bring it up.
I want to also say like Janet, so the first Aunt Viv, like I feel like she brought a regalness to the role, but she could also throw down. And like that complex character to be on TV, and especially at that time, like that was unheard of. And I loved her. I loved her in every sense of the way, from her fashion to the way she carried herself to the way like she educated her children, to just all of it. It was, yeah.
Also, I feel like it was very important to see her on there because I recently watched a TikTok where it exposed basically like we had black parents on TV, but almost always it was dark man, light woman.
Yeah.
Like we don't ever have like a dark female. It started with Cosby Show. It went on to things such as like On a Different World with Dwayne and Whitley.
Oh yeah.
Or My Wife and Kids.
I was about to say that.
So it's either like a light skin or a mixed mother.
Yeah.
So like having that was important
Mm-hmm.
for us to see and other people to see. But then when they replaced her, they didn't replace her with somebody close to her skin tone. It's just like, oh, another like a light skinned woman. And like this trope still happens today. Like
They did that in My Wife and Kids because Claire was originally
Yes!
a darker actress.
yeah, even with the
Black
kids, it
child.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's like it's important for us to see all types of people. Even like when they cast movies, if it's supposed to be a black person, it's almost always a mixed person.
Yeah.
Yes, this world is becoming more mixed, and yes, whatever, but like if everything is always mixed, how like if especially movies that are based on books, the book says a certain thing and you're going to cast not like that description.
That's
Like
I love Yara Shahidi. I love all these people, but like you can't be having all the roles.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Sorry, now I'm remembering. Okay, I don't remember what episode it was, but I remember this scene when like Vivian was like standing in front of a mirror and like Uncle Phil like was basically like telling her like how beautiful she is. And
Was
how
this
much...
like original Viv?
Yeah. Do you remember this scene? Like, I think she was in like a nightgown or something, and she was standing in front of the mirror, and then Uncle Phil was like telling her like how beautiful she was and like how much he loves her and all this stuff. Shaleena, you're smiling.
No, but it
keep going. It might unlock a memory.
Is when she was pregnant?
No, this was before.
Was she pregnant or the other Viv was pregnant with Nikki?
She was pregnant. Yeah. But I wish I could remember what was happening in that episode that they had the conversation. But it was so beautiful because like, you know, like usually it's a funny show, but like
I vaguely remember because I think it was like the downstairs mirror.
Yeah. It was so beautiful because the moment obviously got serious, and you could see the love there and just his appreciation for his beautiful wife, and it was just it was so necessary for everyone to see.
Aww. You see, that's the thing. You know how people like to equate lightness with beauty? I personally thought that Janet was a more attractive woman than Daphne.
Not to say Daphne isn't a beautiful woman, but
no, like she is. But in my opinion, the OG was the prettiest.
Well, going into that as well, I don't know if the one thing that in watching the reunion I wasn't really clear of was, does anyone actually know like what happened?
Yeah, he said what happened.
Yeah, and even on his YouTube page, like he did, he had like a sit down with her before the reunion, and they talked about it. Basically, they clashed on set, and I think it was his decision to. I think he voiced like he didn't want to work with her anymore. And then they offered her like a deal where she would be in less scenes, and then she didn't take that offer. So she left. She didn't get fired. She made the choice to leave. And then they recasted her. But apparently, like he would tell people in Hollywood how she was difficult to work with, and she just it got so emotional, like I cried through it. And she was basically saying like, you ruined my career.
Yeah, because
by
she
saying
was
these
blacklisted.
things. Yeah. And like her family disowned her, and it wasn't until that interview, which happened last year, where everyone's like, oh, so you were innocent. Like, oh.
Yeah,
And
she
Will
said
felt
that-
so guilty. He like
Yeah, she said she was going through some things, but she didn't speak on it because she had gotten to that point where it's like you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
So she just kept it to herself. Like apparently she was being abused,
yeah.
and like she just had her child.
Mhm.
But like Will said that now like that he's a parent and he can see things and he could see his wrong in the matter and how he should have gone about it differently. And how by like him just saying certain things like kind of was a detriment to her.
I think my problem, and maybe it was just how the reunion was edited, but I felt like in watching that play out, there's a part of it that doesn't seem, I thought it wasn't genuine, but it felt like a very like safe apology, because I felt like throughout that entire piece, it was like Janet's being like very, very like straightforward, very honest about what was happening, and Will saying, you know, I acknowledge like, you know, where my thinking was wrong, but they didn't really own up to what exactly he said though. You know, because I think that throughout the entire piece, I was like, what did you say exactly? And I looked up a few quotes. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty rough that you said this. And I can understand how it like ruined Janet's career. But I think even in that whole thing playing out, it took, I was wondering like, when is Will gonna say I'm sorry? That's the part I was waiting for. And it wasn't until Janet said I'm sorry that Will said that. And that could have also just been editing. But there was something about that conversation that still felt like there was a lot that was left unsaid that maybe they've already made their amends with and had another conversation about, but it just felt like there were some gaps in that whole piece there that still left things very ambiguous for me. But
I agree. Yeah, like I feel like part of it was editing. They didn't show the full thing. I think the reunion, that whole apology situation, like I while I was watching it, I felt the same way you did, Adrian. I was like, is he gonna give a little more? Because he should give a little more in this. So I do think like their sit down, like what Shaleena and Anika are talking about, like that was more. That was just more. In the reunion, he didn't give as much, and he should have, because more people would have watched the reunion. He should have been more.
Yeah, because
he should have. Yeah.
He said that they hadn't talked or seen each other in 27 years. So I always knew that there was a problem between them, but I thought that maybe she was still in contact with the others because they were like close. But she hadn't seen Karen, she hadn't seen Alfonso, she hadn't seen Tatiana. Like, she was just literally like cut out.
That's so sad.
So that just seems kind of shady.
Yeah.
And apparently, the lady that played her replacement never met her before until that reunion. I'm like, what? Wow.
And it was so sweet
That's
to see
strange.
them hug.
What was that?
It was so sweet to see the two of them hug when they met.
I cried at that part. I'm like, oh gosh.
I do like in the reunion, Will said, like, because now who he is and what he does in the world, he's like, how can I talk about, you know, being good and reconciling? Like, how can I put this picture of myself out in the world when I have someone that I haven't spoken to in almost 3 decades? And I'm glad that he said that, because it's true. Like, I think in that way he held himself accountable. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad.
It was, yeah. And when they did the Uncle Phil tribute, almost bawling my eyes out, and then watching them cry made me cry even more.
He was such a good person, and like he's theater trained, so he's like a proper actor. So he was like the perfect person to advise Will, this newcomer, and everything. Like, if it wasn't for James Avery, Will would not be the man that he is today.
it was so sad. It was so sad. And you could see like how much he meant to all of them, and even like how much he meant to the entire audience of Fresh Prince. Oh my god! Even when they showed their table reads and stuff, and oh man.
Yeah. On my end, I told myself I need to say this at some point of the episode, but I didn't. So to quote J. Cole as well, first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
For real. But yeah, like, I think for me, I think as a kid, I always saw Uncle Phil as like that father figure, but also I didn't really understand like his impact until seeing that reunion. And I was watching with my mom on Friday. And we were both like, it was just incredible to see like his impact as well. Seeing Tatiana just like tear up, that's what got to me as well. But yeah, it's so sad because he was such a fantastic actor. And even in each of his scenes as well, especially those like really impactful moments. The scene that you mentioned, Anika, with Carlton taking the speed, and then I think even that like conversation where Will was apologizing to Uncle Phil, but Uncle Phil was like, no, you have to apologize to the whole family for this, and just how he brought everyone out as well, and then that hug at the end too. He was, I think, top three TV dads, top 2 TV dads of all time.
Who's the other one?
Yeah, like I can't think of a better one.
Dr. Huxtable.
Oh, okay, I knew you were gonna say
Dr. Huxtable. Yeah. I'd
say time, but I feel like my mind has been tainted by the man.
Dr. Huxtable and Bill, different people. That's how I've associated.
I know. I try, but like.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, he's definitely. Like the pool scene with him. I think my favorite Uncle Phil moment was one where he was running for. It was like judge or something. I can't remember what. He was running for something.
Senator, maybe.
Yeah, it was something, and then he had like
Will made have him on the TV.
Yeah, and Will made a commercial for it. It was like vote for Philip Banks. Philip Banks. Take a bite out of crime. Bye bye bye. Just have the pizza. Oh man, yeah, but Uncle Phil definitely.
What I always loved too, whenever Will would do something crazy, or like Ashley would as well, like Uncle Phil's reaction to them, like I feel like it was like perfect. Like he was like so much shock, but also like stern. Just like, oh man.
Don't mess with Uncle Phil.
Oh god.
Okay, well, I have a question for you all. Who's your favorite character?
I don't know if I have one.
And why?
I don't know how to choose one. Like,
I think I would have to watch the seasons again to choose, because my memory of the show it's like it's not full. Like it's just clips scattered. So I don't know.
Also, like, I like all of them. I feel like I like all of them just as much, but for different reasons, because they all brought something so different. Each character was different, but like taught you so much. So I don't know how to pick one.
Well, my favorite character is actually not Will. It's Ashley, because I identify with her so much. Like, we went to private school and then eventually went to public school. That was me. Basically, you get to see her grow up, and like I felt that. Her name's Tatiana, and that's my middle name. Same spelling.
Oh wow!
And last name is one letter off.
Nice.
Let's see what else. Like, she's the original Fresh Princess.
It's true.
Like she was like basically Will's favorite. She was Will's favorite, and because I love Will, like I'm like, okay, favorite. And like she just had a lot of good moments in the show.
How about you, Adrian? Do you have a favorite character?
It's hard not to say Will. It's so hard for me. It's so hard for me because
you can say Will.
I know, but I don't. I'm gonna say Will, because I think growing up and just seeing him, I think you kind of alluded to this when it came to like him just expressing himself. Like it wasn't a matter of like Will being, what was it? It was just a matter of Will just being Will. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it came from his like serious moments, his like the comedic influences of Will Smith is something that I've held heavily as a kid and quoted him all the time as well. Even something so like as cringy as they are, like his pickup lines, like like small things like that, and the dancing that he does, just how free he was too, and also just seeing his growth throughout the series. Like one part that like one scene or one episode that resonated with me was like the one where he went back to Philadelphia and he was hearing about his reputation as well, and being able to sort of like be in his hometown, meet the bully that sort of was like the cause and catalyst for everything that's happening, and reconciling with that. There's just so much about the character that had the opportunity to flesh out so much. And yeah, the one thing about the Fresh Prince, I lend this to Will as well, because it felt like Will Smith was just playing Will Smith.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it was like a show. It literally felt like I was just watching a house and I was just like watching it play out. It didn't feel like a TV show. I can't explain it, but it also is how natural that role was to Will that just made it amazing. So I was long-winded, but Will.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Adrian, you mentioned his dancing, and then that triggered a memory. Do you guys remember when Will would like turn the radio on and like play like a random like old song, and then he'd start like lip syncing and like being so dramatic with it? I loved that. I used to do that as a kid.
all of that. Like,
I like when he dances when Ashley's character is singing like at a pub or like at a cafe, and he's in the background with Carlton. I'm just like, you're funny.
Or when him and Carlton, they become like exotic dancers or whatever. But then Aunt Viv is in the audience, and then Carlton's just like,
Mommy!
Oh my god. Oh yes.
It's a bit of a pivot, because one thing I was gonna say, and Nika, with that scene, I wanted to talk about like the impact of Fresh Prince for a bit, especially when it came to like jump on it, and that's obvious. Like that, anytime you hear jump on it, you think of that dance, and it's just so cool. Yeah, it's so cool that one scene is something that is the magnitude of it to this day is incredible. That, and then you mentioned the Carlton dance too.
Yes.
Like,
and he made that up. Like the actor, like Alfonso made that up.
Yeah.
yeah.
He said he was inspired by Eddie Murphy, because one of Eddie's stand-up performances, he was like impersonating white people, like the white people dance. And he also said it was inspired by Courtney, what's her last name? The girl from Friends.
Courtney Cox?
Yes. He said like she was on the stage with some singer and like saw her dancing, and he was inspired by those two moments, and then he created the dance. It's quite funny. It's on YouTube. Like in one of his interviews, he shared.
I think he mentioned that in the reunion as well.
Oh.
Yeah, briefly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was perfect. Like it's perfect.
Adrian,
Iconic.
You mentioned the impact. I'm gonna tell you the impact. So prior to okay, let me preface this. So Fresh Prince is, in my knowledge, one of the, especially in the 90s, one of the black TV shows that was
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
One of the black TV shows that was more like mainstream. I'd say this and maybe Family Matters, but like Moesha and like the Parkers, that kind of stuff wasn't really. So prior to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I feel like mostly black people, or like some black people, were wearing Jordans and stuff. But because of the Fresh Prince, it kind of like catapulted that into mainstream pop culture, with like a lot of other groups of people wanted to wear them. And because you'd always see him wearing Jordans, especially like when he'd be on the couch with his feet kicked up, you'd see the Jumpman logo and stuff. And in the reunion, he mentioned how Jordan always sent them like the newest stuff, so like people would see them in it. Like I feel like it was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that made Jordan as popular as it is. And I like it, but I kind of don't like it because that means that this stuff is so expensive now. But like, I'm here for it. I'm here.
That's so interesting. Wow.
Or like even other like he'd always be wearing like HBCU stuff or like cross colors, like all like those brands that were like for Black people. I'm pretty sure I seen him wearing FUBU, which is for us by us.
I didn't know that.
This is how you see, like, all of those things were intentional. Like, all of those, I mean, you know, it's just wardrobe, but like it means so much and it impacted so much and created so much from it. Even like, I feel like I keep going back to OG Ambit.
Exactly, because in recent years too, they released, I don't remember if it was the Jordan 5 or the Jordan whatever, but it was the Bel-Air one, because it had like this print on it. Or like people are always like, oh, like he's wearing these ones, like that is why the retro Jordans are like so big as they are, because like people remember their childhood, or like they like to see that stuff. As you can tell, I'm a sneakerhead.
I didn't know that stuff about the shoes, and it's interesting.
Like another thing that the reunion brought up as well that I didn't realize how much I appreciated. I love when they talked about breaking the fourth wall.
Oh
Yes, yeah. I had that on my list. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I loved just how creative they were, but also how just unique they were in that. I think some simple things is just like Will looking at the camera a certain way. Or there's a scene in the reunion I mentioned, like that scene with Carlton just running through all the different scenes. Yeah, I just loved how free, and I think that's also the thing as well. Maybe like just how free the show was to just be, but also just loop the audience in on what's happening as well. And I think that's another reason why I think from before, it's like it just felt like more than just me watching a TV show. It felt like an experience for the most part every time watching The Fresh Prince. But
after watching the reunion, I was like, oh, imagine like going to one of those tapings. How fantastic. Like even the little bits that they showed us in the reunion, I was like, oh, we missed out, man. Like we missed out.
Yeah, because they said that they did something that had never been done, which was like incorporate. Basically, their tapings were like a party. They hyped them up before, like it was like a live audience laughing. They didn't have to use canned laughter. Even in their back rooms, like when they're getting ready, like they're just pumped pre-gaming without alcohol. Like this is what I want in life. Like already as is, when I get ready, like I pump my music, but I want like a bigger go at it.
To conclude, as I like to do on my podcast, whenever I do episodes related to TV shows or music or movies, I like to have a quiz at the end with my guests, where we test each other on our knowledge on whatever the theme was. So today, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air trivia. So are you guys ready?
Ready.
What'd you say?
I'm terrified. Quiz is scary.
I'm a little too, because my memory of the show is, like I said, it's like segmented. But I was thinking, like each of us could take turns saying our two questions, and then whoever is like the first to, I don't know, raise their hand, get the correct answer gets a point. Does that make sense?
I barely know how to use a computer. Now you want me to hit a button? No, I'm just kidding.
No, just like
your actual hand.
Oh,
I mean, like actual hand. I don't know. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to start first?
Okay, I guess I can ask my question first. Which 90s femme fatale did not appear on The Fresh Prince as a love interest? So we've got Nia Long, Tyra Banks, Sanaa Lathan, and Queen Latifah.
Sanaa Lathan?
Yes.
That was just process of elimination. Okay.
Even though I'm surprised, because like she was in everything in the 90s.
That's true.
I'm upset. You beat me by like a. Oh.
Okay, I could go. Ready? I
Ready.
feel like this is gonna be too easy because we talked about it. Okay, so I have to stand up for this one.
Oh no.
Okay.
Carlton dance.
Okay, ready? Name this dance move. Ready?
Oh my god.
Oh, the Aunt Viv, the Aunt Viv.
Good job, Anika.
That was fantastic. Oh my god.
I hope you know that's definitely going in the.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh my god, that was amazing. That was actually amazing.
That was
I
wonderful.
kind of thought she was gonna do the one that they did to the Apache.
Oh no.
That's what I thought too.
Oh, so for my listeners on my podcast, you have to watch this episode on YouTube to see what I did.
I could go next. Okay. So I'll give bonus points for this one. This is a simple question. What is Jeffrey's full name? Oh, Shaleena.
Okay, this is only because I was watching a lot of Jeffrey stuff. Jeffrey Barbara Butler.
You got it. I just found it so funny finding out that his last name was Butler. He was born for this.
I mean, okay. Is that okay? Oh, okay. So there was like a kind of famous argument between Will and one of his girlfriends. You guys have to know this. It happened. I'll give you a hint. So I'm asking which one it was, like love interest. And I don't know if he ever had official, there were a lot, but so one of his like love interests, there's like an argument. It was in the college campus, like in the cafeteria.
With Tyra Banks.
Yes, okay.
Jackie Ames.
Yeah. I remember that being like the argument because I feel like she matched his energy in that scene. Yeah.
I think I see it in my head.
Yeah.
It was like kind of comedic. It was a comedic.
Yeah. It was, I just like remember that being like really funny, so it's good. Okay.
Okay. So this one is a long one, and there is bonus points.
Oh my god.
Which one of you can rap the whole?
Oh my god.
Theme song?
The whole theme song.
Not me.
Are you talking like the extended version?
The
Like you
extended
talking?
version would get you bonus
Ooh.
points.
That's on my bucket list to do. I never actually
Never?
memorized
Adrian,
not the
I
full.
know you can.
Yo.
Let's not get this twisted with what I'm saying right now. I could do the theme song. There's an extended one though that I've been aiming to do that I can't. So Anika, I'd be interested to know. Can you fill in the gap? Do you know the lyrics?
Yeah, I know the lyrics.
Okay.
Let me drag it back. Tell me when you're ready.
Yo, I'm ready.
Turn up a little.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right here and tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing out, cool out, shooting some b-ball outside of school. When a couple of guys were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got one little fight. My mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air."
That's it.
There's more.
There's more.
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. You have to fill in the gap for me. I remember I begged and pleaded with but I don't remember the whole
Day
thing.
after day, but I packed my suitcase and set me on my way. She had me my ticket, gave me a kiss, and
Give me a kiss and me send me a
might as
ticket.
well kick it. First class. Yo, this is bad. Drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass. Is this what the people of Bel-Air are living like? It might be all right. But wait, I hear the bougie I hear they're prissy, bourgeois, and all that. Is this the type of place to send this cool cat? I don't think so. We'll see when we get there. Something off to Bel-Air. No, but there's more.
There's more.
After that.
Anika, that was so good. Both of you. That was so good.
Well done. Well done. And the dance moves. Extra. And the pointing.
There's something about
I love how we all did the pointing.
about the person they're waiting for him. So then it's like, well, the plane landed, and when I came out, there was a dude looked like a cop standing there with my name out, and I ain't trying to get arrested yet. I just got here. I sprang with a quickness like lightning disappeared. Then it goes, I whistled for a cab, and when it came near, the license plate said fresh and had dice in the mirror. If anything, I thought that this cab was ready. I said, no, Holmes. Now forget it. You're Holmes to Bel-Air. I pulled
Pulled out about 7 or 8 hours to the cab, your home slightly later. Look at my kingdom, I was finally there. Selling my soul as a Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was amazing. That was amazing.
So Adrian got a point.
Well done.
Oh my God.
Okay. My
Wait.
turn, right?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want us to end on like my question because I feel like it's easy. So we should end on one of yours.
Did you want to go next then?
Yes, I will go next. This is super easy. Okay. I think Hillary had a few jobs, but like what was her main one? Was she a radio host? Like a talk show host? A weather girl? Or an assistant to an actress? Oh, guys, come
Talk show
on.
host. Talk show host.
Shaleena.
Well, I don't know.
Talk show host.
She was also a weather girl, though.
Oh, I was thinking that. Just like,
Okay.
I could see her in that position, but
Like, I
That's
think
how she met her fiance,
Yeah.
as being the weather.
Yeah. I think on the show, she was the weather girl for the longest.
So no one got that?
No.
I think you got at least deserve like a half point for it.
Wow, that was supposed to be an easy one. Okay.
Because anytime I think of Hillary, I remember Will doing like her intro song. You guys remember that? He was like, oh, Phoenix, 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 Phoenix. This is the Hillary Show. Phoenix, Phoenix.
Oh my God.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Okay, I could go next. So
Sure.
my last question is, in the pilot, Will's getting settled in to his new room, and he's dancing, and he's stapling a poster on his wall. Do you know which civil rights leaders on that poster? Dippy.
Malcolm X.
Good job. Good job.
There were a lot of episodes that talked about Malcolm X too, so I feel like this was yeah.
Yeah, like when Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil told him that he's just using it as a popularity thing, but like they were there for the struggle, and you need to learn about all that stuff.
Yeah. Well done.
I'm figuring out how difficult to make this. I feel like based off our conversation, you can do it. So, can you all, I'm gonna say as a group, let's do this.
Okay.
Name 10. Okay, I'm just because I'm gonna take Nika's prompt. If you as a group can name between 5 and 10 celebrity cameos that happen within the Fresh Prince, you can either name
Trump?
the character's name or like the real life names. Yeah.
So Trump,
Trump.
Queen Latifah,
Who?
Queen Latifah,
You said Queen Latifah.
Tyra Banks. Oh yeah. Okay, so wait,
That's 3.
and then put Tyra Banks, so 4.
Boys to Men, you said.
Yeah.
Tevin Campbell.
6.
Oh, Cree Summer. We say Nia Long.
Hold on, what was Bree Summer in there?
She was on there for an episode. I swear.
I need to fact check this. But okay, continue.
Well, Nia Long was on there, so we'll just keep her. So that's 7.
Yeah.
How about one of the aunts?
Oh, Jennifer Lewis.
Yeah.
The mom that plays in Family Matters, wasn't she on it?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Wasn't she one of the sisters?
The
Oh no, not her. The one that plays she's in Blackish. The
grandma.
The grandma in Blackish.
Yeah, I said that. Jennifer Lewis.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
her name. Okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
that was her name. Oh, the guy that plays Pops in the Marlon
The Wayans brothers?
The Wayne brothers.
Oh.
I need a fact check.
He's Nia's dad, isn't he?
Adrian's out here fact checking us like.
Hold up.
He's in that. He's like driving the plane and like
You are right. Yes. Fantastic. Fantastic job, everybody. That was a good team effort.
Yeah.
You nailed it. The one I'm surprised you didn't say a few things. You may have missed it. Don Cheadle was there as well. Cheadle's friend. Yeah, for Ice Pick. Oprah. There's an episode where Oprah was on there.
Really?
They're on the Oprah show for like as a family on one episode.
I did not know that.
And those are like the noteworthy ones. There's like Chris Rock was there, Isaac Hayes, Jay Leno was there for the episode Celebrity Houses at Night. Like that was Jay Leno. Tom Jones made an appearance in the show as well. Yeah.
We are straight up fools. I feel like
Naomi Campbell.
Hey, we got 10, so we're not.
We did, but we missed so many that are like really noteworthy.
Yes, yeah. So listeners and viewers, let us know how you did on the quiz. That was fun.
And let us know what your favorite Fresh Prince moments were.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our special crossover episode. We hope that you learned a lot and enjoyed our conversation about the Fresh Prince. We all really enjoyed our conversation, and we're super excited and glad that we got to do this with the host from Everything 90s podcast, Shaleena. We all really enjoyed this entire experience. It was so much fun. Shaleena, I don't know if you wanna say a few things.
Oh no, this is great. I really enjoyed this crossover episode. A lot of laughs. I'm looking forward to seeing it on YouTube because this is my first time doing like a video podcast. So this is pretty cool. And it was great times.
Don't forget to follow Shaleena on Instagram at Everything 90s Podcast. And you can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at the Melanin Marvels, as well as you can catch both of our podcasts on Google Podcast, Apple, and Spotify. Link in bios.
Yes. So take care, everyone.
Bye.
Get home. Smell you later.
Yeah, that part.
Interested in continuing the conversation? Feel free to add us on at the Melanin Marvels on Instagram.